So here's the magic. Here's the trick. Why do I tell you about all this? Because people want to get rich and they want to get rich quick, and they're willing to take what they think are shortcuts, but actually aren't shortcuts. They just get you to lose all your money. Leverage trading, margin trading, any form of trading is a way to multiply the house's advantage against you. The brokers make money, the exchange makes money, the market makers make money. You get chopped up by fees or liquidated, and you lose everything.
You're gonna love my book, by the way. It's so funny. I like literally just wrote this whole. No, what you're saying is truth. This is 100% true. 100%.
Where are the customers' yachts, right?
Right. Exactly.
So how do you beat this rat race? If you choose the asset which has the highest native gain, which is cryptocurrency, you do not have to invest as much in it. You do not have to take on leverage and loans to try and amplify the movements. You can just sit there and withstand any drawdown. Bitcoin has drawn down 85% 4 times. That's a huge difference. That means you had $100 and now you've got $15 had you bought the top. But every time it's done that, it's gone on to make new all-time highs. When I got into Bitcoin, it was 50 cents, and today it's $24,000. That's a 48,000x return. That's 48 million%. That is huge, massive.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Jim Rat Crypto. I'm live every single day, 11 a.m. Eastern, Crypto in the Morning with my co-host Sam Stoll. We don't miss days, people. We don't miss days. We're locked in like laser beams while everyone else is just talking about marijuana side effects on Twitter. We're studying the closest, the lightest, the most product market fit, the most nuanced things in crypto, liquidity providing, the Hedron interaction that we've had over the last 3 months. We've been spelling out to everyone word for word every single day. There is real info in crypto. That's why I love listening to Richard Hart, because everyone else looks at him and they see an hex shill, but I see a market man that understands what's going on, and he tells us word for word what's going on. And now I, after studying for 2 years, can extrapolate a lot of this information and see it in real time. And I think Sam and me and Bullish have been just enjoying ourselves going through all this information. And we got a lot to talk about today. We want to talk about Hedron, of course. What's going on with Hedron? There's no sellers. Get your calculator out. There's no sellers. There's events coming up. There's product market fit, B-share derivative given heavily to the larger stakers. Generally, the people complaining the most about Hedron have the largest portion. Why? Because guys like me, Sam, and Bullish came in and scooped a bigger portion than they could get on that airdrop. So why they said we get free coins forever, I said I'll buy more than you could ever earn on your free coins. And because that's what happened to me, Sam, on the on the other side. It's like this opened up the market, Sam. This opens up opportunity. This opens up USD value. There's a lot of USD sitting in people's accounts, and Hedron has stimulated some of that. And it's so light, and so many people sold so early, and they saw this bear trend, and they didn't think we could decorrelate. Guys, I'm in love with Hedron. Anyway, HSI's auction's coming up. Sam's got plenty to talk about when it comes to Hedron. And Icosa, he's a whiz at this point, and I'm loving it. We're going to talk about the Greyscale premium. What does Richard Hart say? The bull, I didn't say this. I'm not sure about this. This hasn't happened yet. So this is more speculation on him, and he knows that. But he says the bull market will not start until that Greyscale premium starts moving upward. He doesn't say it has to be 1 for 1. It just has to start moving upward. So it's just an indicator. Okay. It's an indicator. Like, it's more so when that starts moving upward, you can start to assume that the plays are getting made and the value prop is changing. I'm stuck thinking about all this stuff all day long. There's nothing better in this world than the opportunity that sits in front of our fingertips right now. What did Richard just say? You don't need shit. You don't need any money. You just need a little bit. But so while everyone in the Hex community says DCA, work 24 hours a day, put new fiat into the system, the man who created it said put a little bit into the system and wait. Because then you'll outsize everyone else's return. with your understanding of the system. Richard understands these systems. Other people understand listening to Richard. That's the problem. There's too many people in this community that want to say, get rich like I did, instead of telling them the truth. Get rich like the people that get rich do. You know what I mean? Not everyone that buys crypto gets rich. Period. 95% of them lose all their money, but everyone wants to forget about that because their bags are so big. While Richard says Bitcoin's on an S curve, limp dick, too heavy now, we could be at the same point and everyone in this community would say we're doing a 10,000x in the next 6 months. Okay. So that's my take on that. I'm super happy today. I'm super happy. I've talked to Sam and Bullish on the phone today. We're going to get into some stuff, guys. Crypto in the morning, every single day. Make sure you retweet this. I'm posting it right now underneath. Make sure you give that a retweet, guys. Get this party started. We got a minute left. If you could run over there, hit the like, hit the retweet, hit the bell. Let's get it.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Renner sent me to show you the way. Crypto in the morning. 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 Crypto in the morning.
Yo, what's good, bro? It is good to see you. It is good to see everybody in the chat here. I don't know if anybody's been paying attention, but Hedron is up over 16. That's a 1 followed by a 6.38 from the middle of July. A 16x. A 16x in 45 days. What has Hex done? 2%? Negative percent? 0%, right around that. Yes. While some people have been able to get a 16x plus on their bag, and we know some of those people.
And they buy back Hex.
Correct. It's good for Hex. It is definitely good for Hex. There is an opportunity that is not going to last. There's an opportunity here that is not going to last as Hedron goes up, right? Hedron's going to go up to a certain point. I made a spreadsheet here, so we're going to take a look at a little bit later the fair value, or kind of like the upper ceiling where Hedron's price is. If Hedron goes above this level, then there's the arbitrage, which will kind of like push the price down. So this is, you can think about this as like the break-even point, where the target is, right? And that target for Hedron price is a moving target based upon two factors: the price of Hex and the T-share rate. One of those numbers goes at that. And we're going to get into that in a few minutes. We also have some other good stuff related to the Mt. GOX and what is going on with the Greyscale. Greyscale is the trust, right? So go ahead.
Yeah, so I want to explain over the next couple of minutes why this is happening. Why? This will help a lot of people probably, but we don't have to say it in super technical terms, but just why, if I was trying to explain to like a decently smart guy that doesn't know crypto so well, I would say, okay, you like Hex, right? Because all the people I'm talking to at this point pretty much know Hex, right?
Yes.
Richard tells you that liquidity and weight and adoption slows down price chart, right?
Yes,
right.
Sir.
He also says over time, new technology comes out that generally you don't have the foresight to have at the moment, right?
Accurate.
And therefore, you can extrapolate, guys, that other things will come out, some good, some bad, some pictures of animals, some extremely complicated smart contract protocols with amazing burning features and incentives. Okay. So basically, when we're talking about this, we're talking about what have we learned? Low liquidity assets pump harder. Product market fit. That's the big question mark. Why do we have product market fit? Because of the B share airdrop. And can you go into that for a second? Like the B share airdrop, because people just think, oh, the money's just come out of everywhere, like, but they don't think like this is a specific number to a specific number of people, and it has a cap. And there's oversold. So what do you think about that? The way it comes out, the product, the way it is distributed.
So the way that it's distributed is fascinating, right? Because how you get your hedron is you get one hedron per B share per day, right? So when hedron pumps in price, what that does is it actually makes hex stakes more valuable, because the thing that they're getting for free makes hex more valuable, because the dust that I'm earning per day from hedron is going up in value. So that dust has now become a clump of hair in the shower, right? And that clump of hair, if you don't clean it up, is going to continue to grow. And that effectively is the hedron thing there. And actually, I think the clump of hair is a good analogy, because that's how a lot of people in the community actually viewed hedron from the start. That's why we had
even
a gigantic
the uber
sell-off.
smart ones. Even the uber smart ones. I'm not going to play. There's some people that switch sides. I just leave it alone. You know what I mean? Because that's learning. That's how you learn. But there's people that I respect that didn't understand this, and it confuses me. But it's bias. I don't have that bag with the bias. I feel like if I did, it would be harder.
And we even have, so on Etherscan, you can put in the contract for hex or hedron, or just search the name, and you get to look at the number of holders. So this is going to be the number of wallets, right? Remember, I could have 16 wallets, right? So it's not necessarily the number of people, just some people conflate that. But the number of holders is a good indicator of how something is growing, right? Because then you get to see the number of holders going up or the number of holders going down, right? How does that number change on a daily basis? And then how does it change over time? I started tracking this number. I didn't tell you this, but I started tracking this number because the first couple days of tracking, it doesn't really tell that much. But I was like, I should be looking at this number to understand the growth. Is hedron adding new users at a faster rate than hex is, right? Because hex
right now,
and it is
like day for day right now.
In the last, correct. So I started tracking on the 28th. I can pull up this. This
please. This is super interesting. And again, guys, this is dormant dollars that would have been dormant anyway. They're no longer dormant. Understand that. This is a derivative asset. So any gains on that will come back to the higher liquidity asset, just by definition. You don't want to sell on slippage that heavy.
Okay, this is fascinating. Let me share this. This is a 3.7x increase in terms of.
And before you share that, we'll just show people this. People that are brand new, maybe haven't checked out this chart. Bully, can you scroll back? Oh, this is the monthly. Wow, this is the monthly. Holy smokes! I never looked at it in this one. Guys, listen to me for a second. Does this look like the trend of Bitcoin in the S&P 500 right now? Let me know that in the chat. No, but no. You know what this means? It's decorrelated because it was oversold and there's no sell pressure. And the people that do have big bags of it, they're afraid to sell it because geniuses like me and Sam are telling everyone to buy it. And they don't want to miss that premium because all their money's staked, or a lot of it. So they have that liquid premium there. It's a liquid premium. It's a different use case, Sam. And look how it's doing. Look what's going on, guys. This is a brutal bear market, and this is something we have been updating people on 3 months straight since launch. I was watching at launch and streaming. Well, I was streaming for Joker, but that was back then.
Yeah. Okay. No, this is fascinating. Okay, so I want to, and I'm not trying to like give anybody a hard time or anything. Okay, perfect. Stay here for a second. This is exactly what I wanted you to do. Okay, so over here on the left-hand side, we see this spike here, right? There was somebody who sold right around that. Do you remember who that was? Who sold a bunch of hedron on people? I mean, a lot of people.
His name's Wolverine. He is a man and an animal in the same actual human, and he sold the top for 800 grand after he pretty hard pumped it in the Telegram group, which sounds morally silly to me.
What do you think? And I'm not trying to give somebody a hard time at all, even slightly. We're pretty soon going to be entering, and I can show you like that fair value in a minute, but we're going to be getting pretty soon into price discovery beyond that point. And I think somebody had mentioned that he sold around $800,000 worth. So when we have a double above that, that's $1.8 million, right? And I think that we are going to, I wrote down, I have the number in the spreadsheet here that we can get into.
Oh, you have the number in a spreadsheet? Sounds like, oh my God, it sounds like you're just guessing.
4 zeros and a 5. So where's 4 zeros and a 5 on the chart here? 4 zeros and a 5.
If you go over to the number, is right there.
Yep. Okay. That right there is approximately right at the top of that peak, which is fascinating because the only rate this can go up is if how this is influenced is the price of HEX has a big impact, right? So HEX at 3.9%, 3.9 cents right now means that the rate is lower. If HEX were 4.5 cents, then it would be greater than this number. And at some point, this is going to be much greater than this number here. And I thought that was interesting just to I just thought it was interesting, right? Because 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 800 grand, cool, free. It's free money. So free money is free money, right?
But there was people in the community, some that got so much of this that only God knows how much. And they actually told everyone, since they have such nuanced insight on Richard Hart's psyche, that the OA is gonna have something. The OA is gonna squash everyone's money. That's such a trend of the OA, you know. Let me think about the trend of how many times the OA likes to wreck HEX users. Oh my God, let me think for a second. Richard Hart has a brain. He doesn't just listen. He is the last stop when he's thinking. It's not the guy that he's talking to. And Richard explained why Hedron to me is incredible, word for word.
So check this out. This to just piggyback on what you're saying. This is, if anybody's curious to see where I got the data, if you go to Etherscan, right, etherscan.io or something like that, you can search for Hedron, you can search for HEX. And then on the left-hand side of the chart somewhere, it says users or holders, right? Because one user could have 15 different addresses. And I've been tracking this since the 28th. And there might be a way to see this over a longer period of time, but I don't know how to do that. So I'm just manually putting this into a spreadsheet. So on the 28th, there was 20,936 people, addresses that held this. I want to be clear on this. Addresses that had Hedron. There was 309,508 holders of HEX. Now, we have 5 days later, right? I missed the 31st. I didn't track it, which is perfectly fine. Now we're up to 21,075 for Hedron and 310,57. Okay, cool. Then let's take a look at this as a percentage, right? So a percentage gain over 5 days. HEX gained 0.18%. Not 1.8%, 0.18%, which is cool. That's great. That's fantastic. That's growing. That's what we want, right? Hedron, on the other hand, grew 0.66%. That is a 3.7x faster growth rate in holders of this token, Hedron, than HEX. What is the only thing that drives up price? I did think you played a video by Richard Hart where he actually talked about this. What is the only thing that drives up price? The demand for the fucking token.
Buying and selling.
Yes.
Buying and sellers, more buyers than sellers. Adoption.
And if we look at this chart, it's not hard to see which one is growing faster. And I'm not saying HEX is not going to grow. It's clearly effing growing.
It's just
we understand.
It just seems like the premium that for dormant capital was high, and I think people got the feeling that now that HEX has been so similarly tied down to Bitcoin that the assets are going to move differently. I think we're starting to educate, and I'm not saying that I'm learned all this stuff yet, but it's about low liquidity, guys. Like if in a perfect world, everyone in the world buys HEX, yes, we're going to be very rich. But the people that are buying it are not going to be very rich. And you're going to have to switch up the riddles that you're telling people quite a bit, because it's just like, that's why I'm so obsessed with telling people the specifics, because I'm afraid that down the line, people are just going to be like, you're just a shill dude. Like you didn't know shit. Now this shit's trash. Like 20 years, 40 years, 30 years. You know what I mean? I want to keep up with the Joneses if I'm live every day. Too many of these streamers just want to say HEX, HEX, HEX. Hedron comes out and they don't even know what it is. for a year.
Correct. This is, I think that you will enjoy this because I also agree that I don't want to talk about shit that is not like true to me. And I think hopefully you guys can let us know in the chat. Hopefully this is connecting because neither one of us want to talk about shit that is going to ruin our reputation or negatively impact us in the way that you're not correct. Obviously, if we're not correct about something, I'm happy to be like, hey, bro, I fucked up. This is why I don't tell you to put your money in any place. This is what I'm seeing here. When we get into this, this is the number of hacks needed to purchase one T-share for 5,555 days. That's 7,777. I'm sorry, 7,770 hacks, right? And if you go to go.hacks.com, you can get the same data there. Go there, then click on stake, and then you can get this. That's where I get the data. This is the price of Hex this morning. This is the price of Hedron this morning. This is cost in Hex USD. So what does this mean? This means that if you take this number here, 3.9% times 7,770 Hex for one T-share, the cost of that T-share is $306, right? $306 buckaroonies. Now, when we come down here, that means that we'll start here and then we'll get into the no discount piece here. You can advance 5,500,055,000 Hedron. Remember, what is this? This is, you get one Hedron per B share per day. So we get one Hedron. We get 1,000 B shares because it's one T share. One T share equals 1,000 B shares, a trillion shares versus 1,000 billion shares. Same exact fucking thing. And then we multiply that times the number of days. How many days is there? 5,555, right? So we can advance 5.5 million Hedron. Now, when you take a look at this, this number here is this in reverse to calculate what the price of Hedron would be before we can get to a level where you have an arbitrage opportunity. So I think I should talk about this just briefly for a second here, but
Please.
If we were to go, say this price here was double this, right? Say this was plus 0.01, right? So say this price was 1 cent and then followed this, right? Well, what would happen is you could take this, you could create a T-share for this price, right? One T-share is going to cost you 306 and 3 cents approximately, plus gas, right? So it's going to cost you this much. Now, as soon as you create that T-share with the HSI through Hedron, you can go through and you can pull the future Hedron you were going to earn, right? So then if you did that, what would happen? You would take this here and you'd be able to pull all of this forwards times this number. So I'll show you what the value of this is. That means you could get $55,000 from a one T-share hex stake if by doing this. Obviously, this is superfluous. Like, this is ridiculous. This is not actually accurate. But if we add on, say, 4 zeros and a 1, right? 4 zeros and 1 is going to be more something along the lines here, where it would be you create one T-share, it costs you this, and then you're able to extract $361 of Hedron and sell that in the marketplace for $361, and you're making a profit of $50 roughly, right? This minus this. So you can make a 50. Oh, that's hilarious. I did not plan that. Look at this. $55.55. I did not plan that. That's freaking hilarious. But
that's fucked.
That's
absolutely fucked. What the hell? Richard, you sly little dog. No, I'm just kidding. These numbers do have significance in a lot of equations, though.
And okay, so now let's get back into this for a second. So once we know that any number above this number here that I'm highlighting, 4 zeros followed by 551, right? Any number above that number, there's an opportunity for people to make money. So that's going to be kind of like the upper limit of where Hex can go. I'm sorry, where Hedron can go. Now, if we look
at but the gains are so, again, and I want to reiterate this just for the people in there. Why we're excited, guys, for the non-math guys in here. We're excited because there's a lot of premium real estate left to go upward before we're directly correlated. Because people didn't understand what was going on, it got oversold, and then the young guys started. Hungry guys will find food if it exists. When food exists, hungry guys, Crypto Sloth, Cryptographics, Sam Stolt, GRC, RH Max, these guys will capitalize. And I'm saying hungry because those are guys that I talk to all the time. But you know what I mean, Sam? Like there's just premium.
Yes. Okay. So good point, because what is the premium here? Well, if we understand that this is you could think of this as almost like a ceiling, but the ceiling is a dynamic ceiling. And what do I mean by dynamic ceiling? Is that the ceiling is going to move, right? Think of like taking a shitload of mushrooms or psychedelics and the ceiling is moving. Like think of that, right? For an analogy, where this moves based upon two factors, as we talked about: the price of the underlying thing, hex, and the T share rate or the B share rate, depending on how you would like to think about that. That means current T share rate, which we just pulled up, and I confirmed it this morning, and the current prices, there is a 13x. That's what this number is, 12.96. A 13x before Hedron gets to this price. If you believe,
This is a fuck ton. That's a lot now. Jeez.
I think I sent you in the private message this morning with Bullish. I was like, hey, I think there's still this much left to go. And I'm just mentally calculating this. I actually calculated it. I was way off. I said like a 2 to 4x, and I was way off.
I was lucky enough to watch that chart every single move. Like I watched that chart from day one to day now. And so I had so much hindsight on the selling because I watched it. I was like, holy shit. I remember at the time I was like, holy smokes, that thing just took a nuke. I wish I sold some, but that's all I thought at the time, right? But I watched it. I watched those guys move on to shit coins. You know what they did? They moved on to shit coins in their own products. And that made me realize that they didn't have capital and they were trying to make a play and they didn't realize this play was here. So they nuked themselves from the real play and then they bought shit coins. And that's what happens in this market. Richard says that stuff a lot too. Like what they will get your money with the shit. Like shit will find your money and you will spend it if you're not laser locked in. That's why me and Sam love doing this research every single day.
It's a ton of fun. So now what's really cool is what happens to the B share rate over time?
The B share rate can only go up mathematically.
Okay.
I mean, through the code. It can only go up due to the stakes that are coming out, which are already going to be coming out at some point.
So anybody in the chat, feel free to give me a number. Give me a number, and I'll put in whatever the chat says, right? Give me a number of what you think the 5,555-day T share rate to purchase one T share in 1 year from today. So 1 year from today, what do you believe? There is Crypto Sloth in the house. His ears must be ringing because we were just talking about it. But what do you guys think the T share rate for one T share in 1 year from today? 9/1/2023. Give me your chat, your things. So
I started 500 days, just for a reference point,
please.
guys. I started 500 days ago and the T share rate was 13,000 hex, I think.
And that's the 1
Maybe
day
less,
T share.
maybe less, maybe a little less. So I'm going to go ahead and say if we double from here, 16x price, probably 27x price action from the bottom minimum. I'm thinking we're going to double on that.
This is the 5,000. This is the 15-year T share rate, not the 2 year. So in the 15-year T share rate, right? We got some.
Oh, my bad. I get you now. I forgot.
No worries. I should have done a better job.
Well, no, now I remember because it's the larger ones that.
So we have AJ says 7,777. I think it's going to be a little higher than that, personally. Not that it's wrong or good guess. 30,000. I think personally it might be a little bit lower than that, but I could be 100% wrong. 12,000 seems to be to me. That's around a number I might pick. We got another 30,000 here. The cost for a 15-year T share rate, Hex can pop up 2,350. The cost 10,000. Okay, so let's work in terms of Hex price, right? So 8,500. I think it could be a little bit higher than 8,500, but let's just plug in some numbers here. and we have 10.5 here from Cryptomelia.
Please, and then put your
I love
spreadsheets around. You're starting to scare me. You're giving these people all this. This is scary, guys.
Well,
Because now they're gonna know they can whip the spreadsheet out and get the calculator out, do it off the B share. We're giving these guys too much. Sam.
Okay, so before I press enter, I want you guys to keep an eye on this number. This is the 12.6 number. This is the number of X's before Hedron gets to this, right? This is the fair value where you cannot arbitrage hex price. So watch what happens to this 12.96, 20x. So in 1 year, if hex stayed exactly the same price, 0.3 cents, right? 4 cents basically. That's a 20x, right? And remember, this is like hex. You had mentioned this yesterday. In the last 500 plus days, hex has had a double for you, right? Cool. Everybody's like, oh, 10,000x, right? That's cherry picking.
Less than a double now. Less than a double now.
Less than a double for you. Okay.
Probably right about a double, yeah.
This is a 20x. Now, hypothetically, let's just get some very conjecture, and then we'll put this thing away. We can jump to the next thing. Conjecture. What do you, GRC, and then everybody in the chat, what do you think the price of hex will be in 1 year? Like, honest, like if you had to bet money on, don't just throw out numbers. Like if you had to bet $1,000 on this, where would you?
Probably closer to the last all-time high, if I had to guess. Like it would be. I'm gonna say at that point we'll be primed up and back in the bull market. People will still be in denial, but we'll be. It doesn't take much to get back to an all-time high. We're talking about before price discovery, so I would say around. I'm gonna go ahead and say 43 cents.
What do you? Thank you. Now, everybody in the chat. Okay, we have $1.50, I think that's less. $7, 88 cents, 75 cents, 25 cents. Thank you. 63 cents, $1.10. Okay, check this out. So let's do GRC's numbers and then let's put in some other people's numbers. Again, I'm going to change this number here. We're going to put 43 cents. That's what you said, correct?
Yep, 43 cents.
Now, guys, watch the red box here and the green box here. So remember, the red box is if the price of Hedron was above that, you could arbitrage it to make a profit on there. That's kind of like the moving target that we're looking for, right? Hex is at 43 cents, and then watch the number of X's in the green box here. 200.
It's a 10x.
218. So think about this for a second. Let's just put this into perspective. What happens if hex goes from 4 cents to 43 cents? That's a 10x, right? Just over a 10x, because we're going from 4 cents to 40 cents. That's a 10x. It's marginally higher than a 10x. What happens in terms of the value prop for Hedron? So you have a 10x in hex price, a 200x plus opportunity here with Hedron. I'm not telling you guys to fucking put your money in any places. I'm not like shit could fucking hit the fan. This is where I'm personally.
Yeah, we're not. Again, I post Hedron charts. I post news on assets that have product market fit that explode and are going to make people a lot of money. We tell people how to use Uniswap effectively through making passive income with the liquid funds that you have anyway. But this is everything we do is to critically teach you about the blockchain technology that exists. We're not going to add middlemen to your plate. We have plenty of tools. Come on, guys. You think we're going to add middlemen to your plate when we have plenty of tools that are already existing right now? You think we're going to make a worse tool than already exists? No, we're not going to do that. It's stupid. We're going to show you guys that this market is flexible and plastic, and you need to keep learning every single day. And if you make this a full-time thing where you're learning every day, you don't have to quit your job, of course, but you can have the advantage on the market. It has nothing to do with being smart. It has to do with paying attention every single day and using your critical thinking skills. Most people are going to lose all their money in this market. Watch this show every day. You won't be one of them.
Correct. Because as we learn stuff, we will.
So let me look at here. Average cost of T-share open. Okay, so Sam, do you want to finish that thought that you had with the numbers? Oh, well, just to wrap it up, like you just say there's a lot of premium there. If hex explodes by definition, Hedron's going to explode harder if the math works out correct. And like everyone doesn't nuke their account at the same time. These are just general trends, but like at the same time.
If we have Hex is a price of $1, right? I saw $1 come up several times. They're close to $1.88, $1.10, $1. If Hex was $1 in 1 year from today or sometime, that would be a 500x plus for Hedron. Like it.
And that's normal. It's not unusual. Like, don't like, so guys in the chat, like, if you haven't experienced that, like, that's another day in paradise for guys that know what they're doing. It really is in crypto. That's why Richard keeps saying, don't start a business, learn about crypto. He's not kidding. He's not joking. It's not a joke. Sam is making more money without doing anything now.
Than in my
He still
business.
has his other monies, income streams, but now his whole mindset has changed because he's learned about the technology. So he's like, okay, there's no middlemen over here. There's no overhead. There's no risk really, unless they shut it all down. And I can do it with a small portion of my stack and make more money than everyone in my neighborhood's earning with their full-time job.
Combined.
Well, yeah. In your neighborhood, being that you're down in Florida, where people are a little bit more blue collar, I'm assuming, where you live, probably. And there's not like jobs galore down there. That's not what Florida.
But there's a lot of jobs, but it's just like the to highlight the stupid astronomical gains that you can get in crypto. Think about
$300 a day, Sam. If you had to find a young man with 20 grand in his account, and his whole life goal was, I need $300 a day, you'd say that's the easiest. That's $100,000 a year, guys. Like, just accumulate wealth and understand what's going on here, and buy the assets like Hex, for example. Like, I keep coming out and telling people Hexes should be used for more of a retirement play or like a safety play. But why are you going to put all your money there? Why won't you keep it liquid? This is all about money, guys. It's all about money. Richard tells us that if you hold your liquid funds, you ain't going to lose shit. It all goes up in price and then hits all-time highs again. If you are smart enough to just take that information in, you don't have to lock your shit into stuff that doesn't earn you yield. Like we mentioned yesterday, like, why am I going to lock into stuff that doesn't earn me yield when I can just make 100x in a fucking 6 months and then with 10% of my bag? That's kind of, I just want people to be more fluid, more like with themselves. Like, this is not just a you got lucky thing. Like, you will fuck this up and we will take advantage, because new things come out too. And people that over leveraged on old ideas can only under leverage on new ideas because they over leveraged on the old one.
And there's a stickiness to that, and they're stuck there. There's something in psychology.
Well, even their bags, in this case, their bags are stuck there. In other cases, it's just psychology. In this case, they're getting mad yield. But like in 15 years, do you know what our cars will probably be flying? We'll probably be zoom into space in a freaking buggy. You want to tell me that there's not a fucking bunch of crypto sloths out there trying to change the world or whatever? Like, they're going to make shit happen by definition of technology. And I just want everyone to be safe and protect themselves. But you can still hedge your bets. If you're a smaller player, you could just hedge a little portion of your bag, just like Richard said in the beginning of the show. And you can make more gains than you would ever have made doing anything else with a small percentage. Now, if you want to one up that and be like a huge billionaire, like, that's the risk you play. And that'll probably occur for a lot of these guys. But I think the time frame that people think will be much slower than what they assume, because that's just life. Like, that's adoption. That's the internet. You know, I'm going to pull this up, Sam, real quick. Oh, wait, real quick. Guys, please share this out. We've been trying really hard to, like, the last 5 days to keep our intellectual integrity tight. You know, like, there's a lot of moving parts for me, and people try to grab my attention with a lot of stuff, good and bad. But I just need to focus on the math. I need to focus. I want to show everyone how I'm going to do this in real time. I'll show you. I'll do it myself. I will take less than $20,000 liquid and I will become a millionaire in front of you without having a job. Or I'll tell you, you know, like, I'll show you all the stuff that I'm doing. Obviously, I'm not planning on not making any money, but I'll just show you through my actions, because I truthfully believe this isn't that difficult to figure out if you're paying attention every day. I really don't. So guys, go ahead and share this out. I'm going to be here as a resource all the way. 24-hour pulse stream launch. I'm doing it all, guys. I'm paying attention. Sam, right at the end, I want to talk about pre-pulse chain plays. Just a little idea on that. A pre-pulse chain, a little like flair, because I love talking about pulse chain. Guys, we're going to pull up the GBTC discount versus premium to NAV right here. And guys, I'm almost at 3,000 subs. I think I'm like 10 or 15 away. So if you're in here and you're watching, that would be awesome if you could smash that for me. Hit the bell. I go live more than once a day, and so does Sam sometimes. So the GBTC discount or premium. So right now, as you can see, there's the bull market numbers. But that's the inflated price. But really, basically, the line in the middle, guys, is just showing you the 1-for-1. So, and now we're under that 1-for-1. You know what I mean? So what do you think, Sam, about this chart in general? If I don't know how people buy GBTC, do you know that process? Do you understand like where that pressure comes from? Because I just don't have a vivid picture of that in my head.
What is it? GBTC? Yes. Okay. So
Grayscale. I guess it's what the finance guys buy.
Yes. Okay. So what Grayscale, like, let's to give people an idea of like the relevance of this chart here. BTC is not regulated. So if you run a hedge fund, if you run a mutual fund, if you are in a investment house, if you're managing somebody else's money in legacy, there's a lot of effing rules you need to follow, or you can get your balls chopped off, right? Like, it's just not, there's a lot of regulations that need to be followed in that market. So what does that mean? That there's a lot of regulations that need to be followed. Well, we know that's going to be cumbersome. It's going to slow things down. If you're managing other people's money and you have rules around where you can put other people's money, and some of those rules say, hey, bitch, you're not allowed to put any money into crypto because it is not regulated, then that excludes you from these astronomical gains. So in order to get around the rules legally, the Grayscale BTC Trust was set up. Trust is like a super cool entity. I just got a book on it that I'm reading through, Trust, because I know I need to learn more about it. I'll probably be setting my trust up as well. But you can do all sorts of stuff. So the point of the Grayscale Trust BTC is that you can use the trust, because it's not regulated. You can use the trust to buy BTC. And then whenever somebody puts money in there, they get an equivalent purchase amount in BTC. So you have the price of BTC is going to fluctuate with the price of the underlying being Bitcoin. Now, if you look at the chart here from the beginning, from May 2017 to up until, a little bit into 2021, the purple line is above the center point, the 0 mark. That means that institutional buyers, the people who have regulations on their back, the people who are not legally allowed to purchase crypto for their clients or for their fund in any sort of manner, the only way that they can get access legally to BTC is by purchasing this trust, right? The Grayscale Bitcoin. So what happens when all of those people start to change their mind? They end up pulling their money out. And if you pull your money out, then that price is going to go down, right? And that's what's happened. This is why Richard Hart talks about this. So the price is at a discount right there. So as this price,
and that's 3.5% of the circulating supply.
Thank you. I did not know that. That's interesting. Okay. So,
and that's liquid. So they mention the circulating supply as all of Satoshi's coins too, which they don't move. So remember that, like, the circulating supply is in addition to all the dormant coins that Satoshi has, and that's still 3.4% of the supply. Think about how many liquid funds that is, and there won't be enough stimulation on Bitcoin to get it going. And it's annoying. It sucks. I don't like that. I don't like
that gap, right? A good analogy is Maxi and Hex. And what we can think about for Maxi and Hex, what is Maxi? It's a derivative play on Hex. It is Hex with other things stacked on top of it, like the 4x on Hedron. It bigger pays better and longer pays better, plus the added ability to virtually not pay any fees, and also the tradability of a Hex stake, right? So this should trade all the time at a premium relative to Hex. But what if the maxi price fell down and it was trading at a 1-for-1 versus Hex? Well, anybody with functioning
There
gray
would be an
matter
influx, a ginormous influx of maxi capital.
and a massive opportunity, right? Because then you know that it's underpriced. Now, if maxi was at 4-to-1, in my opinion, that would be overpriced. Unless like there's a reason for it, but they would be overpriced, right? That would be your time to sell your maxi, right? If Hex is 4 cents and maxi is 20 cents, right? That's overvalued. That's a time to sell your maxi. I'm not saying you should do the trading or anything along those lines, but it's overvalued. When something costs more money, you could sell that. The price is going to come down. That's how you can think about the Greyscale relative to the market price of something.
And that's why Hedron's so lit, because it took those properties out of it. You know what I mean? It took that direct nature out of it. The reason I sold all my maxi at 11 cents is because I knew it was going to follow Bitcoin, whether it was 2x or 1.4x. I mean, it was going to follow Hex. And when I realized that Hedron wasn't going to follow Hex is when I started moving more USD value into that, which was like 3 months ago, maybe 2 months ago, maybe, as I kind of figured all this stuff out. But it wasn't clear as day like it is now. And I'm not talking about Maxi's an amazing. I mean, if we're talking pre-fork, like I can't think of many more better options than having a large Maxi.
Let's save that to the very end. Let's touch about the Mt. Gox thing.
Okay, so the Mt. Gox thing, guys. What do we know? We don't have to talk about the exact numbers because they're so large anyway that they kind of like doesn't matter. So RH Max had a comment up at the top where he said, what if the guys don't want to sell the bottom? What if the guys that get there, they're not selling any bottom, bro. They're selling a top on steroids. And they've had this money taken from them from a long time. And Bitcoin was nothing. And none of those people anticipated the value that it is at this moment. So all of those guys basically got a free stake and chill diamond hands card. And now they're getting $20,000 Bitcoin. Are you buying $20,000 Bitcoin, people in the chat? Let me know. If you're all spending all your USD value on $20,000 Bitcoin, I don't think you are. So they're going to sell it because now they have much more information too. A lot of those people have more information and we're in a bloody ass bear market. Nobody has any fucking money. So think about all those combinations together. Everyone's wrecked. They did 100x on their bag. And, the truth is, if those coins get released, they will be dumped primarily, probably, I assume. But I don't know how much that makes a difference. But if Richard mentions it as a pretty big factor in the downward pressure of potentially, it's 180,000, I think, Bitcoin at 20,000 a piece, which is like a fuck ton. I mean, that's a good lot of liquid.
And is that so? Talk to us. Is that coming out?
Yeah. I mean, all you can do is read the legal documents, and as of right now, I can pull up one. The legal document that Richard posted, and he also warned everyone, Dumperoonie coming soon. Everything tied to Bitcoin, Dumperoonie coming soon. Some things are not tied to Bitcoin, guys. We're going over this slowly, and it's because they're brand new and they have no liquidity. That's the only reason. They're just low liquidity and people understand them. So let's see what Richard has been. I know I'm going to pop into it right here. He's been tweeting up a storm, guys. Who would have thought? Richard's back. I want Richard to do live stream or some shit.
Yes. Real quick on a slight tangent here. I'm going to see if I can give access. I just made a copy of this.
I found it. So when you're ready.
And I don't know if one person uses this, if it's going to fuck it up for everybody, but I'll put a link in the description here. This is a Google Docs. This is the same document that I just created.
Ooh.
So
what is it for? Oh, you mean for the spreadsheet?
Yeah, this thing here, because I saw somebody asking for it. So I'm going to share it here. I I don't know how to get it so that if everybody has a separate copy, basically if one person fucks shit up, then it'll all be erased or whatever. But there is a link there. I'm probably not going to stick it into the description unless GRC wants to. He's more welcome to. But this is a copy of the sheet here. If anybody does want to click on that link, I added a couple more notes in there. They can go through and just change, the T-share for 55,555 and change the hex price of what you think those things are, and it will spit out the numbers.
Even if you downside it, hedge low, it's just redonkulous. So that's kind of why he's bringing that up too, because we're kind of hedging low on that.
Make sure it's view only, and so no one can edit it, and they're forced to copy the one that you shared.
Okay, how do they? Well, it's too late. It's already fucking shared out. But that's good to know in the future. So if I do that, can I make it so that just those two cells are editable, so that way they don't mess it up for anybody else?
Editable.
No. So what I'm saying is, if you share it as view only, people are forced to copy your version onto their personal Google Drive, and then they can edit it however they want.
Okay, listen to what Bullish just said. Do that to get the copy of it. I'm going to see if I can change the settings of the share on it right now. But GRC, go ahead into the next topic.
Well, it's not letting me freaking zoom in on this shit, but I'll read it. All right. How about that? For some reason, Richard said, "You ready for Mount Gox Bitcoin Dumperoony, guys?" This was August 31st, 2022. Important to whom this may concern, Mount Gox Co. Information on prohibition of assignment, etc., of rehabilitation claims. Rehabilitation creditors should read this document carefully, as it contains essential information regarding payment procedures. Number 1, setting of assignment, etc., restriction reference period. The rehabilitation trustee is currently preparing to make repayments in accordance with the approved rehabilitation plan, of which confirmation order of the Tokyo District Court. The court was made final and binding on November 16th, 2021. The rehabilitation plan, as started in the information of repayment procedures dated July 6, 2022, to ensure safe and secure repayments. That's funny. The rehabilitation trustee, in accordance with the provisions, I love how they bring up safety. It's like you
know people are going to try to be stealing.
In accordance with the provisions of the rehabilitation plans and with the permissions of the court, has set a period during which the assignment, transfer, or succession provision as collateral or disposition by other means of rehabilitation claims are prohibited. The assignment restriction reference period. Below are details on the assignment, etc., restrictions, reference periods, and how repayment procedures will be affected during such period. Start date and end date of assignment. The assignment restriction reference period set with the permissions of the court is as follows. Start date, September 15th, 2022. End date, base repayment deadline.
What does it say after that, after the deadline? It says something, however, if the repayment deadline...
They're basically saying that could be forever, etc. Never, you'll never know.
Okay, so this is interesting, guys. This stacked on top of macro could be what helps Ethereum drop down to below $1,000. If you look at what I think the Fed put out, that they're actually increasing, they're going to be doubling the quantitative tightening effect of taking money out of the system.
Mention that for 1 second in a little more detail, just because that's a big one.
Okay, so this is just from the peripheral, because I haven't really dove into it as much as I have in some of the stuff in crypto, but the Fed is tightening monetary supply, and their effect is to try to limit inflation, right? Well, when they're doing that, they're removing that, and interest rates are going to be going up, right? That's the effect of what they're trying to do by tightening the money supply. And they're basically purchasing back treasuries. I think somebody who's paying closer attention to this can let us know in the comments here. But from August until September, right? Today's the 1st. They're doubling how much they're doing that, which can have a negative impact on asset prices in the stock market and in bonds potentially. So this could be very interesting. File greater than make a copy. So this stacked on top of BTC trickling out into the populace that may or may not flip that. Highly likely that a lot of people do flip their BTC, but start date of the 15th does not mean that the vast majority of it's coming out on the 15th.
Or
And
what if people know this information more intimately, so they're waiting to dump their bags, but because they might think it's a little inflated right now?
We should have what's his face?
Richard?
No, Richard, yes, but
Tangent.
Australian. Yeah, thank you. Tangent. We should have Tangent on because he's in the back seat of this. He had coins and Mt. Gox that were stolen. Now he's going to be getting his replacement coins. He can tell us all about the process. If he's got like 20, 30 minutes one day, we should have him on and get to more of the semantics of how
we can also count that if you're trying to make gains, do the opposite of what he does.
Yes, correct. Because about 6 months ago, me and Orca were giving him a hard time because he was so bullish on Hex and Bitcoin. And he told me the maxi premium would be closer to 1, and it's been at 2 the whole time. So maybe I'm just on less drugs than Tangent. We'll just quantify it to that. No, I'm just kidding. Tangent's the man. He's a nice guy. I'm a bit of an OCD freak. He's more of like a go with the flow party kind of chill guy. And he's probably got a lot more money than me. So he doesn't really care about the specifics as much, I think, but he is as smart as a whip, and he's made incredible investment decisions for the majority of his time on this earth. I guess it's time to go, guys. You know,
one more
Go ahead.
thing. Rip, let's just before we wrap things up. One more thing. What is one play that you're thinking about? You were about to get into it earlier.
Well, I think that Pulse. I think that if you, and Richard said this too, if you have no Pulse, if you did not go to Pulse Chain, if you were not around for the sacrifice phase, making sure that you have a position in Pulse Chain, if you have a lot of liquid Pulse X, in my opinion, is a very good decision. Okay, so making sure that you get some of that Pulse X value over to Pulse if you don't have any Pulse. This is a time play because there was less people around at the time when Pulse came out, and then Pulse X came out, there was more users, and people understand Pulse X less, and people don't understand the incentive token and all the tokenomics into a layer one. Layer ones just pump no matter what, like if they work. So other than that, and Richard's mentioned that before too, but other than that, I'm saying, I'm only going to say this quick for the people that actually stick around, but having liquid Hex and liquid Maxi, I would say liquid Maxi would be like a better play if you already have it, and depending on that premium, whenever you want to buy it. But if the Hex price gets low enough, buying Maxi, buying Hex, there's going to be a ton of liquidity in those assets when it forks over, and you're going to be able, there's going to be a lot of free value on those assets first. Those ones are going to get bound first, I think, quick. People want that P-Hex, people want that. And then we'll have to dig into the Hedron and Icosa side of this more as we go. But those would be my primary concerns for people having some liquid and having some pulse. But Hex, Maxi, pulse.
I do agree that the sentiment on Maxi and Hex in terms of those are going to hit parity. I do think Hedron will as well, but we should do a little bit deeper thought experiment on that. Now, what might be a strategy that I would like to go into for the launch of Pulse and Pulse X? If you look at, say, Uniswap, SOL, that's what is that? Solana, ADA, Polygon, Ethereum. A lot of different successful projects have launched where, and Uniswap's token doesn't even fucking do anything. And within less than
40, the airdrop was $40,000 at the top for free on the duct tape token.
And you have from time zero, within 1 year, less than 365 days, there's a bunch of these projects who've all had over 100x. So with the Hedron thing, right, we've had a 16x plus in 45 days. 16x. That means if you had 10 grand in there, you have 160 grand in there. If you have 100x on $10,000, that's $1 million, guys. That's $10,000 is not, yes, it's a lot of money, but no, it's not a lot of money. Like it, and the returns there are going to be crazy, especially because you can stake your pulse in multiple different ways, which we can do a separate video on or something, but you could take your pulse to earn more of something else and to grow your bag and just sit tight and be like, I'm going to give it a year. I'm going to give it 2 years, whatever your thing is till you hit the number that you want to hit. These could be crazy, especially when you layer on top of that, the every single day adoption of crypto is increasing. Every day. Every single day, adoption of crypto is increasing globally. Whether you like it or not, the steam train is moving forwards. Nobody's stopping it. No government is stopping it. This is going to continue. I'm super excited. I think that Hex, Maxi, Hedron, all, will probably, a lot of my bags are in a liquid area of that. So most of it will probably be liquid, or a decent portion of it will probably be liquid, so that I can take advantage of that, because I missed out on Pulse. So I would like some Pulse. I would also really, really like some Pulse X. I think that Pulse X is going to be doops. But that is all we got.
The more time that goes by, the more the premium for all of these things gets, because more people forget, more people get uninterested. Yes, more people adopt, but those are the people that don't understand what's going on. They're not going to be ratio trading day one. They don't even know what the fuck's going on. So, you know what I mean? Like, be in position to understand. Having a Trezor, to me, is very important on your main account, because it stops you from making transactions really fast. You know what I mean? So I was thinking about that too. Guys, before we go, I want to give a shout out to all the TA fucking idiots really quick. And I only say this to get my point across. These guys are not dumb. They're just basically playing video games and pretending it's real research. So in general, remember, Sam, we were down here and I said, this is going to go to launch price. It has to stay. It's going to at least come to here. This is where I was like, I kept saying this weeks in advance. I'm like, look how oversold we are. This thing has no weight on it. But in general, I never looked at a doji candle. I never drew a fucking line. I just looked at the numbers in the past that occurred already. This is a story. This is what the TA guys will do. Like for example, no hate on Crypto Jenkins, but Jenkins the other day, I was like, I've been telling people to buy, and he said, you should tell them to buy before the pump. And I said, this is what's wrong with you TA guys. You don't understand math. They just draw triangles and say it goes up or down. And so I'm not going to draw any triangles. I don't need to. I've been calling this whole time. I never drew a fucking triangle. I never drew a line. I never drew anything. I understood. What did Richard Hart say? Buy and sell, pressure, adoption. Sam looked at the numbers today. He knows how many more people are in. When Icosa came out, it all made more sense to me, because that means Icosa's legit. It's all legit. This is product market fit, low liquidity, classic MacGruber. Okay. This is a classic. And if you can learn these concepts, you can be rich forever. Because if you're paying attention every day, you will understand every new project that's a derivative and positively impacting these things.
There's good points there. If you
Thanks.
Check the private chat there for a second, but Ebert, I just want to touch on this and then we'll wrap things up with a little DeFi proof. Ebert, one thing, so this would be accurate if you looked at it in isolation, but when you look at this stuff, you want to try to take a more holistic approach to this so that you can see the entire picture, right? If I'm looking at a tree directly in front of my face and it's 4 inches from my face, all I can see is that there's this one big tree. But when I take a step back, right, and that's what we do with Hedron, you take a step back, understand what happens with the supply of Hedron. First of all, yes, if there's an increase in hex stakes, then the supply for Hedron will increase at a decreasing rate, right? Well, that's number one. Number two, Icosa. What does Icosa do? It locks up Hedron. Number three, what happens when these HSIs go up for auction? They remove a multiple of what hex, what hedron was advanced against. So this is all very fast because we can talk about it in more detail in another one. But basically, the amount of hedron that's pulled or minted can actually be deflationary. Well, I believe that at some point in the future, hedron will be deflationary due to the usage of ICOSA, and nobody's factoring this.
I think that'll happen quicker than people think. It's almost happening in real time already, but people just don't know the rates yet. Like they don't understand the burn pressure. They don't understand the total supply. They haven't looked into that part enough and nuance. It takes months, guys. It does take months. It doesn't matter if you read something once. Yeah, I could read how hedron and ICOSA worked over once in beautiful detail, and I'm going to forget what the fuck happens, but I stay at it every day. I ask questions every day. I still go in that chat, and when there's a question, Sam has a question, I say, let me hit the hedron chat. Let me hit the ICOSA chat. Let me figure this out right now. It's about understanding. Do not be fooled to think that these guys are smarter than you. People have different incentives to say different things. That's not illegal, but my incentive is to be an educator. There's too many people that want to come out with products to protect you from yourself instead of teaching you what actually goes on. Richard taught me that. He made the product and he taught people about the market. But people don't want to listen to the market. 95% of people will lose most of their money in all of these products, no matter what, by definition, in every subgroup when there's finances involved, because there's nuance insight, there's OTC deals, there's liquidity buffing, there's all these things that people can't figure out just from like buying hex and staking it. How am I going to figure out about LP pools if I got to need $150 million to even use the front end, like everyone told me when I started? It's like now I understand it completely, where before I didn't understand much of anything. I was just making money. You know what I mean? But now I have resources to make money in the future, guys. The NFT auctions, we're going to be covering all that shit. We're going to be covering team. We're going to be covering all these opportunities. There's liquidity providing opportunities within the Maxi staking feature protocols moving forward. That's what we're going to be looking at a lot of.
Also, there's premium that could be had in there. And my personal take on this, we will have to save till that video, but you can see that relative to hedron. And we're gonna get out of here with some DeFi proof. Appreciate you guys.
Make sure you guys. I'm almost at 3,000. Let me see if I crossed it.
Make sure you subscribe.
Hit the bell, guys. DeFi Proof's the GOAT. We'll be back. I'll be back on later if I can get a good show. I got 2.99K subs, guys. Smash the like, smash the sub, hit the thing. Twitter, I'm getting close to 10,000 subs on Twitter. I want to get that too. That'll be fun. But anyway, guys, Bullish, you got anything to say before we go?
I was going to say, make sure you follow everyone. Stay tuned. Stay locked in. We're coming out with a bunch of updates. We're going to be punching harder than ever. So if you like today's episode, expect a lot more of this coming up.
Do you want to play the golf promo, and then I'll click over to the thing just so people remember, guys? It's on Sunday. That's the only reason I'm saying. If you don't know about the golf, if you want to get involved, blah 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 blah, we're gonna play the promo and then some DeFi proof. Everybody,
yeah, I got it from you.
Have an amazing day. Thanks.
Oh, go ahead.
You already know what time it is. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. 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 Waiting on phone. Crypto in the morning. Crypto in the morning. Smoking a blunt on my way to the gym. 11 a.m. and I'm already tuned in. Got me some hacks and I'm making a stake. Got me some heads on, I'm making it rain. Pay me some maxi and that's just in case. Jim Reddit sent me to show you the way.